Most people think you get paid because of how good you are at a thing. That is not true. Okay. You are paid based on how much value you provide. It's not how good you are at a thing, but the vehicle that you're choosing to make money, right? When I was stuck in my 9 to 5, I was stuck to a salary whereby no matter how much I tried, no matter what I did that month, it was not going to change how much I made at the end of the month. Now, especially in the game of high ticket sales, a lot of people will over focus on the skill of sales. Now, don't get me wrong, selling is a skill, not everybody is good at it. It's just like any other sport, you need to learn the basics, you need to learn the advanced stuff. Selling is a real skill. But what most people don't realize is that you could be an exceptional salesperson, but on a very bad opportunity, a very bad offer, you are going to make no money. And you could be a very mediocre rep, but on an amazing opportunity, and you're going to make a load of money, right? And so this is particularly important for people who think that high ticket sales is I buy a course, I learn the skill, and then I should make a load of money. Because people will focus so much time and energy on the best objection handling techniques, the best way to run a discovery, tonality, all of this kind of stuff. And in reality, the thing that is going to dictate how much money they make, to be very real, is the offer you are on. If you are not in a good opportunity, it doesn't matter how good you are, you will not make money, right? And so the more time I spend in this game of high ticket sales, entrepreneurship, whatever it may be, and the better I get, the more I realize is it's not actually about how good you are. It's not actually about your skill. It's actually about the opportunity that you're in. Now, the skill will determine which opportunities you can get access to. No doubt, right? The way that you show up, how skilled you are at selling. These are all factors that are going to dictate how much money you make because they will dictate and help you get into a better opportunity. But the skill in and of itself is not going to make you money. And I think this is a huge, I guess, point I want to get across to the high ticket sales community and the people that want to make more money is the highest leverage thing that you can do is pick the right opportunities. My argument is it's even more important than having the skill of sales because a skill is something which anybody can, generally speaking, anybody can learn, right? You can definitely learn the skill of sales and there are some things that you just need to know before you can even get on an opportunity. Like, yes, but most people just don't realize it's actually about the opportunity that you find yourself in that is going to dictate the amount of money that you make. Now, I want to share an example, right, on this whole concept of opportunity versus skill because I think it's so interesting. The more I spend time around people who are making more money than most people will ever make, and the more that I climb up the ladder myself, time and time again, I just realize that the people above you are not special. They don't have a higher IQ than you. Some cases they might, generally speaking, that is not what is making them go further in life than you, right? It's the opportunities and the vehicles that they choose to actually make them money, right? Let me give you an example, right? Think about your cousin back home, right? Let's say I'm from Pakistan. I'm going to use an example of my cousin back home, right? At birth, I was born in the UK, he was born in Pakistan. If we did a load of tests and like figured out DNA and then like when I was growing up and he was growing up, we did IQ tests, we'd probably be the same or somewhat similar at least. But me being in the UK meant that I was able to eventually get a job where I was earning in pounds, right? Now, even if I was earning very low in pounds, it would still be way more than he's earning because he's earning in rupees, right? He's earning in a much, basically, he's in a vehicle which is not going to allow him to make the money that he wants to make. He needs to change the vehicle, he needs to change the opportunity vehicle to be able to make more money, right? The ability, the skill, the genetics, the IQ, like, it doesn't matter. What matters is how much money, what vehicle you're actually in. And so I mentioned this to say this, to highlight a point, which I remind myself of often as well, is if I want to achieve and make more money than most people will ever make, and I have all of these goals, I need to really think about what vehicle am I in and where am I going to? Because the difference between me a year and a half ago was that I was in a 9 to 5, stuck, hating my life, doing what I was doing, and I was capped in making the money that I wanted to be able to make. Now, alhamdulillah, I've been able to shift that vehicle, go full time into high ticket sales, work my way up, lead sales teams, things like that. And I'm seeing that the difference is just the vehicle that I'm in. I am the same. I just learned a skill. That skill pays more. It's a different vehicle. And if I want to work my way up, there may be different vehicles that are going to help me get to where I want to be in the end, right? Right now, I'm in high ticket sales, and it's a blessing. It's a huge, huge blessing being able to have your income tied to your performance, right? And for me specifically, how I manage a team, right? That's how I am judged on. So I think this video is mainly just to serve as a reminder, which is that if you are not making the money that you want to make, sit down and ask yourself the question. If you was to work more hours in the day, if you was to become obsessed with the thing that you are currently doing, if you did everything you possibly could and put all of your time and energy into the thing that you're currently doing, how much money realistically would you be able to make at the end of the month? How much more could you make? I say that because if you're in a 9 to 5 and you hate the fact that you are capped, you're not making enough money, you can sit there and you can work as hard as you want. You can work as many hours as you possibly want. At the end of the year, you might get that raise. What is that raise going to be? 10%, 15%, 20%? Like, that's unheard of, right? Maybe you get a different job and actually you start making more money. Maybe you make 25% more than what you're currently making. Is that what you want to settle for? That's the question, right? If that's what you're happy with, cool. That's the issue. There's no judgment. But if you are someone who wants to be able to achieve what most people will never achieve, have a life which is more so on your terms, right? I don't talk about time freedom because I don't think that really exists unless you have scaled your business or whatever it may be to a certain point and you're taking some time off. But the reality is we find purpose and meaning and drive from actually achieving a big goal. And so I say all of this to say, think about which vehicle that you're in and think about which vehicle that you want to be in moving forward. If you're happy with your current income and your life right now, cool. It may be worth staying in your vehicle. But if you're not happy with what you're doing right now, think about the vehicle that you are in, right? And what that is going to get you based on the inputs that you put in. Because just like your cousin from back home, you might just be stuck in a vehicle which is never going to make you the money that you want to make and live the life that you want to live. If you want to make hijrah, but you are working a 9 to 5 in office in the UK, guess what, buddy? It's not going to make sense, right? You're going to have to change the vehicle if you want to achieve that goal, right? And specifically when it comes to making money, it's exactly the same. If you want to make 10K, 15K, 20K a month, the time it's going to take you to work your way up in a professional 9 to 5 corporate job. Are there jobs out there where you can do that? Yes, you could be a doctor, consultant, there's be a software engineer. You could do that, but how long is it going to take? And will it tick all of your other boxes as well? For me, it wouldn't, right? Even if I was in a 9 to 5, and even if I was, say, let's say I was making 10K a month just in a 9 to 5, I would still have to commute. I would still have to travel. This was the job that I previously had. I would still have to work in an environment which went against my Islamic values, right? in a free mixing environment, etc., etc. And I didn't have location freedom. If I wanted to move to a Muslim country, I can't do that. And so you need to sit down and ask yourself the question, what do I want from life? What do I actually want? Like, what are those things that I want to be able to have in my life? And then reverse engineer what you need to do to get that. For example, if you want to move to Medina, you want to move to a Muslim country, you want to raise your children in a Muslim country, for example, where they can have a good upbringing and a good Islamic tarbiyah, right? If you want to be able to make more money so that you don't have to worry about the bills, you don't ever have to worry about looking after your parents. If you want to just build such a big business that you take care of your whole bloodline, those things are going to come at the cost of taking a path which most people will never take, right? And that's the trade-off. It's going to require a vehicle which is so different from the norm that most people will probably judge you for choosing that vehicle, and it's going to come with a lot of work, a lot of pain, a lot of growth and discomfort. But if you're willing to do all of those things, it's time to choose a different vehicle. The point of this video was to show you that maybe it's not you, maybe it's the vehicle that you're in, and if you want to achieve more in life, it might be worth changing the vehicle. Catch you on the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.